The Las Vegas Raiders are in a very weird spot to me as we get ready to start the 2023 season, and that's because they have a lot of good pieces around the team that would fit on a Super Bowl caliber roster like Davante Adams, Josh Jacobs, and Max Crosby as you see on the screen here, but then they're trying to start Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback. I'm not trying to say Jimmy Garoppolo is a bad quarterback, I just don't know if he is a franchise's answer at quarterback. They did take Aiden O'Connell in a late round, but he's rated as a 62 overall, so for the first season of this rebuild, we will be using Garoppolo. I'm really okay with a lot of the rest of the offense. I feel like their offensive line might need some work, but they have Josh Jacobs at running back, Davante Adams, Hunter Renfrow, and then they got Jacoby Myers in the offseason. They have a pretty good receiving core, and then they also drafted Michael Mayer. Over on defense, they have a couple of nice pieces like Max Crosby and Chandler Jones. They also drafted Tyree Wilson in the first round. Yes, I know he's an outside linebacker, but with us still having Chandler Jones, we're going to put him at middle linebacker too, behind Divine Diablo. The reason I'm making Divine Diablo our number one middle linebacker is because generally in simulation, I see he leads the league in tackles, so I don't want to take him off the lineup. Jumping to the mid-season point, Philadelphia and Cincinnati are both undefeated here in Week 8. The Ravens are 6-1, the Chiefs are 6-1, but kind of a shock here, the Raiders are 5-2. I would definitely say that shocks me. It also kind of shocks me that the Lions are 0-7 up to this point. We have the number one offense in the league with the most passing touchdowns, so apparently Jimmy Garoppolo is playing pretty well, but we have the number 21 defense. Well, I think it's time we start tempering some expectations for this team because that 5-2 start was really good and you can see that here, but after week 8, we have now lost 3 in a row, so we are all the way down to 5-5, so let's go to the end of the season now and see where we finish. Well, it looks like Aiden O'Connell got a little bit of playing time, but Jimmy Garoppolo throws for 3,300 yards, 23 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. On the ground, Josh Jacobs runs for 1,500 yards and 19 touchdowns. Receiving, Davante Adams, 99 catches, 1,400 yards and 9 touchdowns. Jacoby Myers caught 10. Hunter Renfrow caught 4. Over on defense, let's see what happened. Divine Diablo led the team in tackles with 116. Sacks goes to Max Crosby, who only got 5 this season. And interceptions, it's a tie between Divine Diablo with 3 and Marcus Peters with 3. Leading the league in passing yards is Patrick Mahomes with 4,500. Touchdowns goes to Joe Burrow, who threw 42 to only 2 interceptions, but the most picks goes to Sam Howell in Washington with 23. Running the ball, Saquon Barkley got the most yards, and most touchdowns goes to Josh Jacobs. You gotta like to see that. And then receiving, who had the most receptions? That's going to be Stephon Diggs. Most yards is CeeDee Lamb, and most touchdowns goes to Brandon Ayuk with 16. Apparently, Brock Purdy had a pretty solid year here. And then leading the league in tackles will be TJ Edwards, a former Philadelphia Eagle who signed with Chicago, I believe this last offseason. I could be wrong, but I think that's when he left. And then sacks, Micah Parsons led the league with 17, and interceptions goes to Marshawn Lattimore with 8. Following the 5-2 start, this team finished 6-11, so a hot start of the year, and then past the midway point, we won one more game. Well, as a Philadelphia Eagle fan, I would be completely fine with this season simulation. The Eagles win the Super Bowl 28-17 over Baltimore. Jalen Hurts gets Super Bowl MVP. Joe Burrow is NFL MVP. Coach of the Year is Zach Taylor. Offensive Player of the Year is Jalen Hurts. Defensive Player of the Year is Micah Parsons. Offensive Rookie of the Year is Bijan Robinson. And Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to Brian Branch. Now we get to finally get into the rebuild part of this video. In the first offseason, we have about $41.5 million in cap to start with. There are 23 players ready to negotiate. When it comes to real franchises, I really don't agree with paying running backs top money, but in Madden, they can be pretty important. Josh Jacobs is a 99 overall. It would take a ton of the cap. He has very little interest in coming back, but we're going to offer him a very player-friendly deal, and Josh Jacobs will be returning. We are going to need some depth at corner, so we are going to try to bring back David Long, just a 2-year offer. He has a lot of interest in coming back, and he will also be returning. However, I am going to let everyone else walk into free agency. I will be letting Marcus Peters go because he's 31 years old and 81 overall. We might look to bring him back if there's not a lot of better options in free agency, because I think we're going to end up spending our first round pick on a quarterback as long as one is there that I really like. In order to save a bit of cap space, we're going to make a couple roster moves here. We're going to start with Jimmy Garoppolo. We would save $24 million in cap and incur a 0 penalty. So we're going to go ahead and just get rid of him. We're not going to roll Jimmy Garoppolo as our quarterback the rest of this rebuild, so he is gone. One more move is going to be outside linebacker Chandler Jones. He's down to a 77 overall. We would save $16 million in cap. I will gladly take that 4.6 penalty. And then he's also down to a normal depth trade. I believe he was a superstar to start this, so we're going to go ahead and cut him as well, and hopefully we can use that money to get some better players. Looking at the team, aside from quarterback, which we knew we were going to have to get a new one of those, the offensive line, I only have a handful of players here, so I'll definitely have to sign some in free agency and probably even draft some. Over on defense, Tyree Wilson is a star depth trait, not much of a shock here. Next year, he will be playing outside linebacker for us. We'll probably get another middle linebacker to help out Davante Diablo, or maybe be the middle linebacker one above Diablo, not 100% sure yet. Max Crosby is down to a superstar depth trait, and then we definitely need some help in the secondary. There were some pretty big names here in free agency, but obviously you can see most of these guys did not want to come here. Nick Bosa had a little bit of interest, but he got a massive contract from the Texans. Mike Williams, Lavonte David, and Bobby Wagner. Well, let's go over the guys that I ended up signing. We have Levi Wallace, DJ Jones, Devin Bush, Connor McGovern, Rasheem Green, George Fant, and then I signed quarterback Sam Darnold just in case we don't find a quarterback in the draft we absolutely love with our first round pick. If you have never seen any of my rebuilds before, the way I handle the draft is I only pick in the first 3 rounds and then I let the computer take over from there. Main reason being, I'm not great at drafting in the first 3 rounds, and these rounds all feel like they're complete and total luck, so I would rather just have the computer do that. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying there is no skill in the drafting process in Madden. That'd be a completely stupid statement, but what I am saying is I am bad at drafting in the late rounds, so to me it feels like more luck. This quarterback class was not very deep. There is one guy projected in the first round, or at least first round talent, and that is Corey Fowler out of Florida State. He does have that all-important A awareness here with B stiff arm, B deep accuracy, B medium, and B short. Let's see what the other guy projected in the first round is going to do though. He has a talent grade of around 3 to 4, which tells me his awareness is probably a B, and that's exactly where it is, but he does have better medium and short accuracy. Let's take a look at the final mock draft here though, and quarterback Corey Fowler is expected to go at 3. You guys saw a minute ago, we don't have a pick until pick 7. And EA doesn't do a great job with these mock drafts because the final mock draft is the official draft order, and it's pretty much exactly how the draft will go. So unless we want to trade up to 2 or 3, I don't think we're going to get Corey Fowler. One feature that I would absolutely love to be in Madden, and I think it would be a pretty massive addition, is the ability to see the next year's draft class, because we have Corey Fowler here, but he's probably not going to fall to us, so I would obviously have to trade up. Or I could look at next year's class and see if there's going to be a possible quarterback I could take and just roll with Darnold for a season. But for now, we will simulate the first pick in the draft that belongs to the Washington Commanders. We know they are not going to take a quarterback. So as we advance to the next pick, they end up taking left tackle Byron Byrd. We already knew that was going to happen due to the mock draft. Well, clicking the Get Offers button from the Cardinals, that's not a trade I'm willing to do. They want our next 3 first-round picks to move up 5 spots. Absolutely not. I will, however, take this trade. I will give them the 7th overall pick this year, our first-round pick next year, our second-round pick next year, and a third-round pick for this season. But we move up 5 spots, so we're going to get our quarterback. Corey Fowler, welcome to Las Vegas, because you are officially going to be a Raider, and he does come in with a hidden depth trait and 95 throw power, and they still haven't fixed the draft classes because now my quarterback looks a little chunky. With our second round pick, I'm actually going to trade it to the Jets and pick up a 2nd, 3rd, 5th, and 6th for next season, considering I just traded away some of our draft capital in order to get our quarterback. Not a very eventful draft for me, as I only made the first round pick and then ended up trading away the other picks, but Corey Fowler does come in as a 75 overall, strong arm quarterback. He's close to a field general, which is actually a scheme fit, so we should be fine there. 22 years old. I think this was a good move. Now that I've said that, there's going to be obviously generational quarterback in the next draft, and I'm just going to have to roll with what I pick. But either way, we got a 69 overall defensive tackle, a 67 defensive end, a 64 guard, a 67 running back, and a 65 outside linebacker. The best player in the draft was John Wheaton, an 81 overall safety that went with the 8th pick to Pittsburgh. I'm going to go through here and do a few of these drills. I'm probably not going to touch the defensive ones because I'm not very good at them, but I can at least do the target passing, wide receiver battle, the red zone attack, rushing attack. This rep won't even matter here because I already have the gold badge, and this quarterback is extra thick here. I really wish they would fix that. That looks so ridiculous, but we do get the gold badge, I don't think you can earn a dev trait upgrade when it's a hidden dev trait, but we do get 300 snaps or 200 snaps, whatever it is, towards that, and he does earn a skill point. I guess with the rushing attack, since Josh Jacobs already a 99 overall, I can use Zamir White to try to get him to a star dev trait. Honestly, this is probably my favorite drill just because it's one of the easiest ones. You can pretty consistently get gold in that. Well, let's see if we get a dev trait upgrade here, and we will not. Alright, it took a minute to load there. Well, Davante Adams is already a superstar X Factor, so I guess we can use Hunter Renfrow and Jacoby Myers in these drills to try to get them up to a superstar. Well, this rep does not even matter because we already have the gold badge, so let's just go deep with Jacoby Myers, try to lose the defender here, and now put this one up, and that's nowhere near the end zone, but we'll make the catch, get the gold badge, and do we get Jacoby Myers up to a star dev trait? I'm sorry, a superstar dev trait? We do. I assume not, but it's taking a while. Yeah, there it is. Actually, instead of Hunter Renfrow in the red zone attack, let's use Michael Mayer, see if we can get him up to a superstar because he is only 23. Another gold badge here, so let's see on this final rep if we can just get a garbage touchdown, and we'll lose the defender and make the catch in the end zone. So we get the gold badge. Does Michael Mayer go up to a superstar dev trait? That would be huge with only being 23 years old, and it's taking a while to load again, but we will not get it. The weakest point of this offense going into the second season is definitely going to be the offensive line. I feel like if we're a bad team, that needs to be a key point of change in the next offseason. On defense, we did add Devin Bush, so he will start over Divine Diablo. Tyree Wilson will be our outside linebacker, and then Max Crosby will be the other outside linebacker. Hopefully we can actually get more than, what did Max Crosby have, 5 sacks last season? Well, at the midway point of this season, we are 4-3. Obviously does not mean much. We were 5-2 last season, finished 6-11. But look at the division standings. The Chiefs are in the lead at 4-2. Everyone else is 4-3. We have the number 2 offense in the league and the number 17 defense. So I guess we'll see how good we are at the end of the season. Well, I definitely think it was the right decision to draft Corey Fowler. 4,200 yards, 46 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. He had a fantastic rookie season. Running the ball, Josh Jacobs got 1,500 yards and 15 touchdowns. Receiving, Davante Adams, 1,500 yards, 17 touchdowns. Hunter Renfrow over 1,000 yards and 11 scores. Jacoby Myers, 600 yards and 6 touchdowns. Michael Mayer caught 8 touchdowns. We had a pretty good offense this year. Leading the team in tackles is Devin Bush. In sacks, Tyree Wilson got 10. Alright, that's much better. And Max Crosby got 8, so he even improved from last season. Interceptions, Levi Wallace led the team with 3. Joe Burrow led the league in passing yards with 4,550 touchdowns, so he beats out Corey Fowler. I really thought Fowler was going to lead the league there. Jalen Hurts, 38 touchdowns, only 1 interception. That is absolutely insane. Kyler Murray led the league in picks with 23. Running the ball, Saquon Barkley got the most yards again, and touchdowns goes to Kenneth Walker and Austin Eckler, who both got 17. And then receiving, Davante Adams got the most yards and not the most touchdowns. Devontae Smith caught 22 touchdowns this season. Okay. And then receiving, Justin Jefferson with 121 receptions, 1,300 yards, but only 5 touchdowns. Now over on defense, let's see who led the league in tackles. That would be Demario Davis. In sacks, Khalil Mack got 21.5, and interceptions, Sauce Gardner came away with 7. Corey Fowler is a superstar depth trait, so I am not at all upset about what I traded in order to get him. And we managed to make the playoffs here in Season 2 of this rebuild. We get in as a wild card at 10-7. Looks like Kansas City won the division. What seed did we get in the playoffs as? We are coming in as the 5 seed. Sadly, though, our first playoff game of this rebuild does not go our way, and it was not a very close game at all. Final score today is 34-9. In a Raiders rebuild, what you don't want to see is the Kansas City Chiefs winning another Super Bowl, but they do, 24-21. The NFL MVP goes to Jalen Hurts. Coach of the Year is Nick Sirianni. Offensive Player of the Year is Jalen Hurts. Defensive Player of the Year is Khalil Mack. Offensive Rookie of the Year does go to our quarterback, Corey Fowler. And Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to John Wheaton in Pittsburgh. As we head into the second offseason of this video, we have $87.3 million in cap space and 15 players ready to negotiate. The first one up is defensive back Nate Hobbs. He has a really high interest level, so we will offer him a 3-year contract, and Hobbs will be returning. Then you have wide receiver Hunter Renfrow. He also has a pretty big interest in coming back, so we're going to try to bring him in as well, and Renfrow will also be returning. Levi Wallace did lead our team in interceptions last year. Granted, I think it was only 3, but we are going to offer him a 1-year contract to come back. And I forgot to say it, but he did accept that contract. Now we're going to offer a 1-year contract to DJ Jones to come back, and he will also be returning. Another 1-year contract is going to go to Rasheem Green here, a 74 overall. We will look for players that are better in free agency in the draft, but for right now, I don't want to lose these guys because we did manage to make the playoffs with this defense. Another 1-year contract will go out to Jerry Tillery here, and he will also be returning. How about a 3-year offer to Divine Diablo? I hope I'm saying his name right. I'm pretty sure I am, but a 3-year offer, and he will also be returning. Now, both of our starting safeties are up in Trayvon Moehrig and Marcus Epps, but for right now, we're going to let both of them walk along with everyone else here. I came to check out the roster to see exactly what we would need, and quarterback Corey Fowler is now a superstar X Factor, so you obviously love to see that going into just his 2nd season. Then we have the obvious issue of the offensive line still needs to get rebuilt pretty much completely. We have a left tackle and a left guard, but really nothing else. Over on defense, we have a pretty big accomplishment here. Max Crosby is back up to a superstar X Factor. I love to see that. Tyree Wilson, I really thought was going to go to a superstar after getting 10 sacks, but I guess not. The big need here on defense is going to be the secondary, especially at safety. I was a bit more active in this year's free agency. A lot of these are going to be 1-year contracts, but we did manage to sign Cam Jurgens, Drew Dalman, Jordan Poyer at strong safety, Zadarius Smith at defensive end, Jimmy Ward at free safety, and then Chidobe Awuzie. I think I said his name right. Either way, he's going to be our number 1 corner. The Arizona Cardinals hold the number 1 pick in this draft, so let's see where they go with it. Obviously, they also have our 1st round pick. They're going to use it on outside linebacker Kadeem Woodley out of Michigan. We don't have a pick until pick 22 in the 2nd round. And now with that 2nd round pick, we're going to use it on center Jimmy Pierce out of Texas with A awareness, A impact block, B pass block, and A run block. Welcome to Las Vegas with your hidden dev trade. Well, this pick may not end up being a very popular one or a very good one, but we're going to take tight end Kenny Bushrod here in the 3rd round with pick 22 out of Georgia because I really can't find any other position to take and we need a backup tight end, so Bushrod will come in with a hidden dev trait though. This pick is probably going to end up not being a very good one, but I'm going to take defensive back Christian Livingston here with the 24th pick in the 3rd round. C catching, C man coverage, B press, does have D zone coverage, and then his awareness is a C to D and his play rec is a D. He has solid speed, but he's also 6'3". We're going to go ahead and take him out of Nebraska, and Livingston will be a normal depth trait. Not much of a shock to me. Well, we obviously had a ton of draft picks in this one. We got a 71 overall center, a 72 overall tight end. Our defensive back we took is only a 69 overall. I said I may end up regretting that pick. Claiborne in the 4th round is a 70 overall outside linebacker, a 66 overall safety, a 66 overall guard, a 64 overall middle linebacker, and then the CPU took a 70 overall receiver in the 7th round. The best player in this draft was Marcus Bennett, a tight end that the Panthers took with the 8th pick. Now in training camp, and this snap won't matter at all because once again we already have gold, so we'll just throw this out to square, hit 2 targets, and he won't have a chance at a dev trade upgrade, but we do get a skill point. Well, I will be using Josh Jacobs in this rushing attack because he apparently regressed down to a 98 once he turned 27, so let's go ahead and get him back to a 99. We have 0.1 seconds left here, but we already have the gold, so we'll go ahead and just run this ball with Josh Jacobs up the middle and truck somebody and then just walk into the end zone. He will go back to a 99 overall. With the wide receiver battle drill, I guess I'll go in with Jacoby Myers. He's a year younger than Renfro. We could get him up to a superstar dev trait, and he's also a little bit higher overall. We already have gold with a single rep left, so pretty much what I like to do, you guys saw it in the last training camp, is just go deep and see if I can manage to catch it in this 500 zone, and I don't know if they counted that or not, but we do get the gold here. Let's see if he goes up to a superstar dev trade. That was obviously the main goal of that, and I don't know why the menus are still so slow in this game, but we do not get the dev trade upgrade, but we still get a skill point. With the red zone battle one, I will be using Michael Mayer again to see if I can get him up to a superstar dev trade. We already have the gold here with 1 rep remaining, so I just like to do one like garbage time route here, and we'll lose the defender and put this in the corner. Doesn't quite put it where I want it, but we still get the gold. Does he get a superstar dev trait? I don't know how rare this is. I think I've only gotten it one time even off recording, I don't think I've ever gotten it on recording in any of these rebuilds, and we still don't have it. Here is the starting offense going into Season 3 of this rebuild. We obviously have an X-Factor quarterback, running back, and receiver, and the rookie center we drafted in the second round will actually line up at right tackle because he is honestly our best option there. Over on defense, I'm not 100% sure how well we will perform. The defense was, I think, 17th in the league last season when we checked, and then I added a guy like Chidobe Awuzie, Jimmy Ward, and Jordan Poyer, so I feel like our secondary got a lot better. We'll just have to see if Max Crosby and Tyree Wilson can keep up what they did last season. Well, midway through this season, we are now 4-3, so the same spot I believe we were in last season, but now we are third in the division because the Chargers and the Chiefs both are 6-1 and 5-1. We do have the number 1 offense in the league, but the number 31 defense. That's not exactly what you want to see. Quarterback Corey Fowler took a small step back from his rookie season. He goes for 4,000 yards, 36 touchdowns, but only 7 interceptions. Josh Jacobs runs for 1,500 yards and 16 touchdowns, and then receiving Jacoby Myers was our leading receiver, over 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns. Davante Adams caught 11, Michael Mayer caught 3, Hunter Renfrow caught 7. Now over on defense, who led the team in tackles? That'll be Divine Diablo with 115. In sacks, Max Crosby got 13.5, Tyree Wilson got 3, Zadarius Smith came in with 7, and interceptions, Jimmy Ward came away with 4 to lead the team. This season, Patrick Mahomes goes for over 5,000 yards, and then in touchdowns, that goes to Mahomes and Jordan Love, who is apparently in LA now. They both threw 40 touchdowns, but Mahomes only threw 5 interceptions. The most picks goes to Kirk Cousins, who is now in Green Bay with 20 interceptions. Justin Fields in Chicago still also threw 20 interceptions. Christian McCaffrey ran for the most yards and most touchdowns with 19. Receiving, Justin Jefferson with 136 receptions, 1,600 yards, but only 8 touchdowns. Leading the league in touchdowns will be Tyler Boyd with 18. Now over on defense, I don't know how to pronounce your name, Josie Jewell. I'm going to hope that's right. Probably isn't, but 155 tackles. In sacks, that goes to Chris Jones, who got 21 in Kansas City, and interceptions is a 3-way tie between AJ Terrell, Felix Lewis, a second-year player in Minnesota, and Shaq Thompson. We do manage to make it back into the playoffs, though. We finished 9-8, getting, I assume, as the 7th seed. We have the number 4 offense in the league and the number 23 defense. Let's see what seed we officially got in as, and yeah, not a shock, it is the 7th seed. Sadly, though, we will once again get bounced out in the wildcard round, this time 35-17. Well, if you're gonna lose in the playoffs, at least you lose to the eventual Super Bowl champions as the Ravens win a blowout against Dallas 41-7. We are headed into the third offseason of this rebuild with $78.8 million in cap space and 20 players that are ready to negotiate. The first thing we're going to do is take the 5th-year option on outside linebacker Tyree Wilson. He's an 81 overall star depth trait. He's played pretty well for us, so we're going to go ahead and bring him back. Left tackle Colton Miller has pretty much been the only really solid point of our offensive line this entire time. 89 overall, we'll give you a 2-year offer, and he will also be returning. Jacoby Myers' contract is up. At an 85 overall, he just led the team in receiving. We will try to bring him back on a 3-year option. It's a neutral medium risk. He doesn't have a ton of interest in coming back here. We might be able to pull him back in free agency if he doesn't sign here, but we'll make the offer and he will be returning as well. Just because he's a 72 overall, that's a solid backup quarterback. We're going to bring back Sam Darnold, and he will also be returning. Our kicker, Daniel Carlson, is up to an 85 overall superstar depth trait, so we'll give him a 2-year offer, and he will be returning as well. And I believe our punter was also up, so let me just scroll to the very end here and take care of that. AJ Cole, we'll give you a 2-year offer here, and he will also be returning. The rest of these guys will be going into free agency, though. I want to see if we can get an upgrade. We may be bringing a few of them back, but for right now, this is everyone that's leaving. Quarterback Corey Fowler is up to an 87 overall. He is still a superstar depth trait, so I'm perfectly fine with that. Our offensive line finally is going to go into free agency looking at least solid. We need a left guard, but I'm not too worried about that. We have a solid tight end. We have a good receiving room. I'm really happy with the way the offense looks so far. We just really need to build up the defense. On the defense, we can see that Max Crosby is still a superstar X Factor, which you love to see. Tyree Wilson still a star dev trait. I may look to get another middle linebacker. I've been rolling with these two the last 2 seasons. Clearly the defense is not getting it done, and I think I need a new defensive tackle. We will look in free agency, the draft, and possible trades, because I don't think I've made a trade in this rebuild video yet. And then obviously we're going to need some new safeties in the draft or free agency. This will be our free agent class for this year. We land Teron Johnson, Grover Stewart, Xavier Woods, Jonah Jackson, Rasheem Green, and then Nicholas Petit-Frere. I probably am just going to butcher his name. Whatever, it's a right tackle. The Denver Broncos own the #1 pick here in this draft. We don't pick until 19, but let's see who the Broncos are going to select with the first pick. They take Steven Anderson, a defensive end out of North Carolina State. With the 19th overall pick, we're going to take defensive tackle Rasheem Westbrook out of UCF. B block shedding, B finesse, B power, A tackle. He does have B awareness, but has A play rec. The B awareness kind of scares me that he won't be a hidden dev trait, but I still think he's going to be a really good player, so Rasheem Westbrook will be a hidden dev trait. I just jumped to my next pick, and I see the Cardinals took a wide receiver named Lindsey Fitzgerald, so maybe related to Larry Fitzgerald somehow, but whatever, let's make our pick. Well, I may end up regretting this pick because generally when they fall into the middle of the second round, being a projected around 1 to 2, it's not really a good thing. But Ezekiel Flynn out of Clemson has B block shedding, D finesse move, and B tackle. We don't know his power move. It's somewhere between A to C, but he does have B awareness and A play rec, so that's really what I'm excited to see here. So let's go ahead and take Ezekiel Flynn, and he will also be a hidden dev trait. We are going to take a risk here on this safety in the 3rd round. Nick Judge out of Michigan has A hit power and B tackle. He apparently cannot cover very well, does have good speed, but has C awareness and B play rec. That's really the main thing I'm looking for here, and Nick Judge will be a normal depth trait. Probably won't even start for us. Well, I see one player that I'm kind of happy the CPU drafted. We'll get to that in a second. Rasheem Westbrook is a 74 overall defensive tackle. Ezekiel Flynn's a 71 overall defensive end. And then Nick Judge is a 69 overall safety. Not my best pick of the video. But then we got a 75 overall running back in the 4th round, so I'm cool with that. A 67 overall middle linebacker, a 65 overall outside linebacker, a 58 overall tight end. That's not a great pick. And a 69 overall receiver in the 7th round. This draft class did not have any outstanding players that just separated themselves apparently, because it's a 4-way tie for the best player at 77 overall. Before we get into the training camp part of this video, I did sign a new corner. I signed Byron Jones, but we're not going to line him up at corner. We're going to go in and move him back to safety. I'm pretty sure he's played that at some point in his career. I want to say that's what he was at Dallas, but I could be wrong. He was a 76 overall corner, moving him over to strong safety, and he becomes a 77 overall, so he will be our starting strong safety. Once again, we have gotten a gold badge before our final, or on our final rep here, so we'll just do this last throw here and hit that through 2 targets. Why not? Obviously can't get a depth trait upgrade, but does get a free skill point. Once again, Josh Jacobs has regressed to a 98, so we're going to go ahead and do the rushing attack and get him back to a 99. Is that the absolute best use of this training camp? Probably not, but I do like having a 99 overall running back, so that's what we're going to do. This one's going to be close. I managed to get tackled on one of these plays, so now in the final play, because we only have 4 seconds, we'll have to see if we can actually earn the gold badge here, dive into the end zone, and we just get it, 148 points over. Once again on the wide receiver battle, we will go ahead and use Jacoby Myers. With 2 reps remaining, we already have the gold badge, which means I'm just going to run deep. See if we can lose the defender here. Now put this one up. And that's going to be close, and we make the catch. I honestly did not expect him to catch that one. So we have 1 rep remaining. That is just completely and totally pointless. We're just trying to go deep, and I can't lose the defensive back, so we actually get sacked on the play. But we still get a gold badge. We'll see if that gives him to a superstar dev trait. We have yet to see one of those in any of these rebuilds, but let's see if it happens here, and it will not. The final training camp drill I will do is once again the red zone attack wide receiver battle with Michael Mayer. 1 rep remaining, and we already have the gold badge yet again, so let's just see if we can lose this guy. Put one up to the corner here, and we'll come down with the catch. 19,000 points, get the gold badge. And do we get a superstar dev trait upgrade here? Please, can I get one in this video? And it will not be at this training camp. We are now headed into season 4 of this rebuild, and I expect the offense to be pretty good this season. They were good last year. They kind of carried us to the playoffs, but the big question is going to be the defense. I was not able to upgrade middle linebacker like I wanted to, so we will be rolling with Devin Bush and Divine Diablo for one more season, but we do get a new defensive tackle and a new defensive end, both rookies that should play pretty well for us, hopefully. And then in the secondary, honestly, our safeties got a little bit worse, but I think Woods and Byron Jones are going to fill in those roles just fine. At the midway point for Season 4, we are currently 3-4 with the number 7 offense, but the number 32 defense. Quarterback Corey Fowler goes for 3,800 yards, 36 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. On the ground, Josh Jacobs, 1,400 yards, but only 6 touchdowns this season. Receiving, Davante Adams over 1,000 yards and 15 touchdowns. Jacoby Myers, 800 yards and 9 touchdowns. Hunter Renfrow, 625 and 6 touchdowns. Michael Mayer only caught 1 touchdown this season. Over on defense, Devin Bush led the team in tackles with 138. In sacks, Max Crosby got 14 interceptions. We only got 3 picks on the entire year. Are you kidding me? That is horrible. Mahomes once again leads the league in passing yards with 4,900. Touchdowns goes to Dak Prescott and Corey Fowler, so at least our quarterback managed to do that. Interceptions, Malik Willis now in Green Bay through 19 picks to lead the league. Running the ball, Bijan Robinson got the most yards and the most touchdowns with 1,700 yards and 17 scores. Receiving, the most receptions goes to CeeDee Lamb, also the most yards, and the most touchdowns goes to Stephon Diggs, who caught 20 this year. Over on defense, Owen Luck led the league in tackles with 145. In sacks, that goes to Aiden Hutchinson with 20.5, and interceptions, Desmond King came away with 7 this year. This year, however, we do not end up in the playoffs. We finished 9-8 for the second straight year. It looks like we have a pretty solid offense, but an absolutely awful defense. This season's Super Bowl is the Buffalo Bills, beating the Panthers 28-6 to get their franchise's first Super Bowl victory. This is about to be a very expensive offseason. We have $123 million in cap space and 18 players ready to negotiate, and I'm pretty sure both Davante Adams and Max Crosby are both up for new contracts. The first thing we're going to take care of is we are 100% taking the 5th-year option on quarterback Corey Fowler. Crosby wants a 4-year contract and actually has a pretty high interest in coming back, so we'll offer him that 4-year deal and he will be returning. As I expected, Davante Adams is also here, but once again a pretty high interest level, so we'll offer him a 2-year offer and he will also be returning. Michael Mayer's contract is up, but he is not that interested in coming back because he apparently wants to be close to home in Kentucky. We're going to offer him a 5-year contract and Mayer will also be returning. The offense hasn't been bad, so we're going to give Cam Jurgens a 1-year offer and just try to keep our starting right guard here, and he will also be returning. But this is where the rebuild of the defense will begin. We're going to let everyone else leave here, and there are several starters here on defense like Devin Bush and Chidobe Awuzie, but we're going to see if we can get better in free agency. I still think the offense looks perfectly fine. We may honestly look for a new wide receiver 3 and look to trade Hunter Renfrow, where there's going to have to be a pretty solid receiver in free agency that doesn't cost a ton of money, because I have a feeling we're going to need that money elsewhere. Because I will be changing most of the defense here. We obviously need to rebuild our secondary. I don't know if these 2 guys at a 71 overall are going to be good enough, but I really need to upgrade middle linebacker, and I will be trading for somebody if I can't find anyone in free agency, because this will be the final season of this rebuild. These are going to be the only free agents I am bringing in. We have $20.8 million in cap left, so I still have room to trade for somebody should I need to. At free safety, we have Terrell Burgess, defensive back Marco Wilson, middle linebacker Bobby Okereke, defensive end DeMarcus Lawrence. We are going to try to bring back Devin Bush, defensive back JC Jackson, and then safety Kyle Duggar. The Arizona Cardinals own the number 1 pick in this draft. We don't pick until 17. I would say the only problem with picking at 17 is I want this defensive back, Brandon Ridley out of Alabama. A catching, A man, A press, A zone. He has elite speed, elite jumping, elite acceleration. We're going to try to trade up to number 1 to take this guy because I think corner is a big weakness on our team. Moving from 17 to 1 may be a little bit difficult because the get offers button is giving me a bad feeling about what the Cardinals want here. One of these offers is Josh Jacobs and the next 3 first-round picks. This one's Jacobs and Max Crosby. This one they want Davante Adams, Colton Miller, and Michael Mayer, and then a first-round pick this year and in 2 years, and a second-round pick in 2 years. Well, I really think they're going to want a player in this trade because I've offered 3 first-round picks and 3 second-round picks, and that is this close to getting accepted. As much as I want that player, we're going to pass up on the first overall pick. Maybe the Cardinals won't take him. I'll be honest, I did not look at the mock drafts. I have no idea who they're going to take here. But with the number 1 pick, they are going to take a left tackle out of Mississippi State. So maybe the Commanders will do this trade. Well, the Commanders are willing to make a trade here, and this is about what I was going to offer. The other offers are Josh Jacobs and Colton Miller, and then Josh Jacobs and a bunch of picks. So we're going to take this one, which is just a bunch of draft picks. I know it's insane to trade up from 17 to 2 to draft a corner, but I think this guy's going to be really good, so we're going to go ahead and take that trade. And now with the second overall pick in the draft, we're going to take Brandon Ridley out of Alabama, and he will obviously have a hidden dev trade. And why not? Let's trade a little bit more of this team's future. We're going to trade several third-round picks, a 4th and a 7th to Cincinnati for free safety Daxton Hill. So we are mortgaging the entire future of the Raiders on this season. I am absolutely thrilled with this pick though. Brandon Ridley is an 82 overall corner with 95 speed, 83 man coverage, 82 zone. He is going to be a monster in this league. The rest of the draft was a 64 overall tight end, a 69 overall outside linebacker, a 73 overall receiver, so that's not bad, and a 66 overall left tackle. As I expected here, Brandon Ridley was the best player in the draft. The second best player was Kevin Williams, a wide receiver that went number 3 to the Dolphins. I saw him at the top of the board too, and he looked really good as well. Obviously he is. And we once again get gold and target passing, so our quarterback will earn a skill point. Josh Jacobs is still a 99 overall here, so I guess we will use Rayshawn Baldwin, a second-year running back that's only 24 years old. See if we can get him a star dev trait. Why not? It would be pretty funny if we managed to actually get a dev trait upgrade here on a backup running back that's probably not even going to see the field, which is probably exactly what's about to happen, but we get 66,000 points. Let's see if we finally get that dev trait upgrade that's supposed to be kind of rare, I assume, considering I haven't gotten it in a while here. And no, we just get a skill point. Our receivers are starting to regress a little bit, which is a little bit concerning, but we'll go ahead and use Jacoby Myers here for the wide receiver battle. We get the gold badge here yet again, so now we'll just try to burn the DB deep and see if we can lose him, and I apparently can't here, but finally just put this one up, and that would be 6. But we get 15,000 points, so let's see if he goes up to a superstar dev trait finally. I assume he will not though. We have not been that lucky at all this entire video, and no, just a skill point. We already have the gold badge here, so let's just see if we can get a garbage time route yet again and throw this one to the corner. Never mind, we'll make the catch anyway. Touchdown, 16,000 points. Does he get to go up to a superstar dev trait finally? Most likely not yet again, but we'll see, and it will be a skill point. Going into the final season of this rebuild, we have a 92 overall X-Factor quarterback in Corey Fowler, a 99 overall running back in Josh Jacobs, and a 94 overall wide receiver in Davante Adams. I am hopeful that the offense can still be pretty much elite. They've been a great offense the entire time since we've gotten Fowler. We just haven't had a great defense. But since I rebuilt most of the defense, hopefully they play a lot better. Westbrook is a superstar defensive tackle. You gotta love to see that. Max Crosby is a superstar X-Factor, still at a 95 overall. We added Bobby Okereke, we got Tyree Wilson at an 83, we traded for Daxton Hill, we signed Kyle Duggar, and we drafted Brandon Ridley at an 83 overall. This is a do or die season for the Raiders. It is Super Bowl or bust, because if we don't get a Super Bowl, this rebuild is considered a failure. Our star quarterback Corey Fowler will finish this year with 4,000 yards, 33 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. Josh Jacobs ran for 1,300 yards and 14 scores. Baldwin ran for another 7. And then receiving, Davante Adams still putting up great numbers, 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns. Hunter Renfrow caught 5. Jacoby Myers got 6. And Michael Mayer comes in with 7 receptions in the end zone this year. Over on defense, Devin Bush with 105 tackles. The most sacks goes to Max Crosby with 13.5. And interceptions goes to Bobby Okereke with a total of 3. I think he's done it every year of this rebuild except one. Patrick Mahomes once again leads the league in passing yards with 5,000. Touchdowns goes to Patrick Mahomes with 44, and interceptions goes to Hendon Hooker, who is now the starting quarterback in Minnesota and threw 23 interceptions. Running the ball, Bijan Robinson got 1,800 yards and 19 touchdowns, both of those good enough to lead the league. Receiving, most receptions goes to CeeDee Lamb, yards goes to CeeDee Lamb, but touchdowns are going to go to Jamar Chase, who caught 20 this year. Then over on defense, JOK, that's how I'm going to say your name. I don't want to butcher it. 154 tackles. He leads the league in Philadelphia. And then 25.5 sacks from Myles Garrett will lead the league there. And most interceptions goes to AJ Terrell, who caught 7. We have our best season yet at 13-4. We win the division, but we don't get the 1 seed. We have to play Cleveland in the wild card round. We will be coming in with the number 5 offense and the number 14 defense. We do get into the playoffs as the 2 seed here, so I'm curious as to how well Cincinnati played. We went 13-4, get the 2 seed, and Cincinnati will finish 14-3 and get the 1 seed. Yeah, that'll do it almost every single time. We finally managed to win a playoff game in this rebuild by a score of 34-10. The divisional round is almost completely full of divisional matchups. We get to take on the Kansas City Chiefs, Cincinnati's taking on Baltimore, and Atlanta's taking on Carolina. The only one that's not an interdivisional matchup is San Francisco and Green Bay. We will be heading to the conference championship game as we take down our division rival 45-35. In the AFC championship game, we will take on the Cincinnati Bengals, and in the NFC side, it'll be Atlanta against Green Bay. In a game that was never really close, we win 38-21, and we're now headed to the Super Bowl here in Season 5. And now finally in the Super Bowl, we will take on the Green Bay Packers in a game that will decide if this rebuild is a success or a failure. We jump into the Super Bowl in garbage time with 7 seconds to go. It is 31-17. Barring a complete and total miracle, this will be a Super Bowl victory for the Raiders, and we'll end it with an interception. Can we actually end it with a pick 6 here? No, we can't, but we do get the win. It took all 5 seasons drafting a new quarterback and rebuilding the defense a couple times, but we finally managed to win a Super Bowl here in this Raiders rebuild. So thankfully this rebuild is considered a success. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and I will talk to you guys for the next one.